Hey guys, Andrea Donnelly here, shamanic healer, oracle, creator of the multidimensional healing modality, future medicine, which many of you know I used to heal my own body from previously disabling chronic nerve pain that I grappled with over a long number of years, that ebbed and flowed, but that I ultimately set out to really restore my own wellness, and it worked. And now I share future medicine, my modality, with people just like you all over the world for a variety of reasons, for health and wellness, for reconnection to your soul history and memories. I do a lot of work with soul retrieval, with clearing um, cultural, societal, ancestral, familial programming from people's field, reconnecting you to what I believe is your innate ability to heal, your divine intelligence or spiritual intelligence, your cosmic gifts. And those, when I use those terms, if you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, bro, what the F is divine intelligence? What is cosmic intelligence? What are my gifts? Those things, I could talk about that stuff for literal hours and years and days and decades. But in short version, what I think we can think of as divine intelligence, aka spiritual intelligence, your cosmic gifts, is your intuition, your heart's wisdom, your psychic intelligence, your psychic acumen, essentially your multidimensional capacity to understand and perceive the world in much deeper ways than we are taught is possible. And to go even further into that, um, your capacity to create, because you, my sweet, beautiful friend, are a creator being. And every one of us in human form is, I believe, a creator being, but we have been massively snookered by the false matrix and told that we're not. And in actuality, as we restore our connection to our capacity to create or manifest, and really engage with this multidimensional intelligence that you possess, no matter how connected to it you are. And I would also say that, there's always more, there's always room to grow. I have been hyper psychic and in tune with my own spiritual intelligence going back to my earliest memories, and I still want myself. I still shift and grow and change. So there's always more, I think. As long as we're in human form, there's always room to like grow and remember and embody the truth of who you are. So anyway, the reason I'm here today is because I decided to do an FAQ, frequently asked questions series, and talk a little bit about what I see as the greater truth um, of the work that I do, and answer some questions that are just like I said, frequently asked questions, questions that people ask me over and over again and have over the years. And so I wanted to just like provide some cool little sound bites and give you a chance to listen with your human ears and your psychic ears and your heart and your full body. Because a lot of times when people hear me talk, that is actually like a point of activation. And that is when people know that it is time to work with me and to receive a little bit of that magic razzle dazzle future medicine for yourself. So here we go. FAQ 1. And this is something people have been asking me for decades. I'm going to give you the short version, and then I'm going to expand upon it and go even deeper into like the history of this. So the one of the I would say this is also like the number one frequently asked question that I get is how is future medicine, my multidimensional healing modality that I created, how is that different from Reiki or any other energy healing that you could receive? Okay, the short version, and then I'll get into the long version because if you know me, you know that I am verbose, a wordy MFer. Um, so here's the short version. The big difference and the distinction, and the reason I felt very called to create future medicine for myself and for you is that future medicine versus every other energy healing modality that I have ever engaged with. And I went through Reiki 1 and 2 training many years ago, starting in 2001 and into 2002, I think is when I had my second Reiki attunement. And I've received, all kinds of different healings. I spent decades studying, fine-tuning my own process, receiving healings from other people, being very aware of the differences between what I was doing versus what I would sometimes receive from other people, which is not to neg them, but to just say that the big difference is that this modality, future medicine, is about clearing your energy field of the disconnects between your heart and the divine intelligence that lies in what I perceive as, sort of the world outside this realm. Um, your connection to true creator. When I work with people, when I share future medicine with people, what I am doing is tuning them back, retuning them back to their own innate heart wisdom, capacity to manifest, and healing frequency. And so something like Reiki, I know people have cool experiences with Reiki, but to me, I felt very called to create a modality that worked with and for you and essentially reconnected you back to your own capacities to heal yourself, to remember who you are, to call your vision to life as a creator being. And something like Reiki is an external energy. You see what I'm saying? So, I know people can have powerful and profound experiences with that modality and with other healing modalities, and I'm not here to like neg or criticize. If stuff works for people, that's totally cool. But to me, the real hot ticket right now and going forward is to remember who you are, to clear the noise from the false matrix, to restore you to your divine intelligence and your abilities, because that's really where the massive, profound, powerful shifts happen. And I think that's also why, because what I'm doing is reconnecting you back to your truth, the fact that you are the medicine, you are the magic, you are the gift. It creates really profound, really powerful shifts in people's lives, in their physical experience, their emotional experience, their spiritual experience, their intellectual experience, their personal, interpersonal, professional experiences. The way that future medicine truly shifts people from the inside out is so fucking magical. And it's what I set out to do. I had a grandiose idea and a big vision, and the more that I share it with people, the more sort of evidence, as it were, accumulates that shows me that this energy of essentially restoring you back to your profound ancient truth and heart wisdom is the power move. So that's really the big difference between future medicine versus other healing modalities. Future medicine works to restore and reconnect you back to your own ancient sacred truth. There's a lot, literally like decades of tinkering and trial and error and practicing on myself. And I did barter and trade with people for decades leading up to officially launching my practice in 2020. And during all those years, right, I was like working on fine tuning my own process to make this the most powerful, multidimensional modality that exists. And I will tell you guys the things that people experience when they work with me and the number of times that I have also heard, going back to quite literally the first time that I ever gave someone energy healing, which I'll talk about in a minute, is how different future medicine feels to receive and integrate and embody than other modalities. literally going back to the very first time that I ever gave someone an energy healing, which was during my Reiki 2 training. So if you guys have gone through that process, you know, like in the first step, you learn how to work on yourself. And then in the second step of the training process for that modality, you learn how to work with other people. The weekend that I did my second attunement, which was in 2002, oh my God, so long ago. Because it's 2026 now. 47 years old. I was just a wee little baby. I had just graduated from college the year before. So it was a really long time ago. And my 25-year college reunion is in a couple of weeks. Anyway, whoa, time moves some. Okay, so that weekend, we got paired up with people who were in the group to work on each other. I worked on one of the guys who was in my class. And the first time I worked on him, he said, "Oh my God, I don't know what you just did, but that is not Reiki. That was like beyond anything I've ever experienced." He had decided to do the Reiki training because he had received Reiki and thought it was really cool and powerful. And he was like, "That was beyond anything I've ever experienced. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but it's really different than what I think other people are talking about when they share this." And I was like, "Okay, cool. You know, like, I'm so glad you liked it." Thank you. A few years later, I was working on one of my friends who was also no stranger to energy healing. She had received a number of like tons of energy healing, Reiki and other forms of healing over decades. Um, and I worked on her at some point in like the mid aughts. She was having some issues with pain in one of her legs, and I worked on her and I gave her a quote unquote a Reiki Reiki treatment. And she was like, "I don't know what you did. That is not Reiki." That was the most powerful thing I have ever experienced. And this is not to be like a huge braggart and be like, "Oh, look at how fancy I am. I'm so good at this." Although I am really good at this, but that is because this is literally my mission and purpose. There's a reason why I am so good at this. And the other thing is, even before I like sort of consciously started to like reverse engineer what I was doing and what made what I was doing different than other healers, my goal always from the very beginning of sharing healing work with people was very, very powerful. That created like true long lasting results. And I have known since I was a little kid. Some of you might be newer to my work, but I have been interviewed a lot of times and talked about, you know, my own experience with the metaphysical and my psychic gifts, with my spiritual intelligence. And I've talked quite a bit about this. And, you know, I've always been very different from other people. And I've always been able to see, and I use the word see, but like read, understand the energies at play in a way that is, I think, bigger and different than a lot of people. You know, I say I was born remembering things I think a lot of other people forgot. And that is like what I am literally here to help you do, is to clear the veil of forgetting, reconnect you back to the truth of who you are, which is a powerful creator being, and help you remember and restore that so that you're able to essentially, you know, walk in the frequency of miracles. Ba-ba-ba. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Um, and I have been sharing future medicine with people for so long and heard so many people tell me over and over again, "You're the best healer I've ever worked with." And I think the reason for that is because of what I set out to do, which is to reconnect you back to who you are. Because you are the magic, you are the medicine, you are the freaking gift. We have been told such a bunch of nonsense and lies by the Matrix. We are told a hot con in like too many ways to freaking count. And one of the ways that we have been sold a hot con is by creating this idea that we have to look outside of ourselves for everything. And when I created future medicine over the decades where I built and created this like particular right like way of working with you, to restore your energy, to help to clear your field. It involves so many different things. Like I have so many different things that I do for you when I work with you that it takes, I mean, I actually teach people how to, I certify people in future medicine now. And it's an 8 month long process of teaching people how to work with yourself, how to work with other people, how to work with the land, how, you know, how to engage with the lands and really restore a level of divine intelligence and healing for yourself, for other people, for animals, for the plants, for your home, for the land, you know, for the elements. It's a truly multifaceted, multidimensional journey of self-discovery as I teach people how to do quote unquote what I do, and I reconnect you back to that. And it's and people often work with me for many years after that. Right now I have a couple of people who are in their second or third year of advanced practitioner studies. I have, you know, I've worked with people tend, not always, but a lot of people who start working with me end up working with me for a long time over the course of years because there's so much to this art, this practice, this experience of like restoring you back to the magnificent, beautiful truth of who you are. And that's one of the gifts that I possess is that I can look at every heart and hand, every person, every animal, and I can like see the beauty, the true beauty from true creator, what your actual soul, your spirit, whatever words we want to put to it, your divine essence, the heart of who you are. I can see your gifts, your magic, your power in your life. And then I can also simultaneously see the conditioning, the programming, the energetic weights, the, you know, unhealed and sort of trapped emotions and the things that you have not felt comfortable to reintegrate, to reconnect to remember, to feel. And I'm really truly a wizard at like removing those things from your field in as gentle a way as possible and reconnecting you as part of that process back to that ancient sacred truth of who you are, which is your heart wisdom in as simply the way as I can possibly put it. And it changes you. And it is deeply different than any healing modality I have ever experienced. And I've had enough people over the years tell me that I am the best healer that they've ever encountered. And I have seen hundreds of people from all walks of life, some of whom came, you know, found me to change their physical, you know, to reconnect to their physical body, some of whom, you know, found me to receive spiritual mentorship, to remember who they are, to cultivate their capacity to create, to manifest. People come to me for all kinds of different reasons. And I have helped people do so many extraordinary things using future medicine. And I know that it is really, really, really special. I know that the impact that it creates for people, for them, for their ancestral line, for their families, for their children, for their animal companions, for the land on which they live, you know, for their community. Future medicine truly changes you from the inside out. And it is my absolute fucking honor and great joy to be able to share it with you in whatever way, whether you know, do sessions with me, whether you jump into a longer group program, whether you decide that you want to learn how to do what I do and learn future medicine for yourself through my certification program. It's today is it's Monday, May 4th when I'm recording this of 2026. In the past few weeks, I've had three people tell me, one of whom actually came to me in large part to work on for physical body and wellness. Tell me that since they started receiving future medicine, they have more energy, they feel more physically flexible, and they have less physical pain than they had previously. And the other thing about that, right, like as someone who previously grappled with really intense um, nerve pain, anything that I can do to help you reconnect back to your body, you're at home in your physical form. That's crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. Anything I can do to make you feel better in your body is a fucking win. And I am not a doctor. I'm not here to give medical advice or anything like that. But what I can tell you is that the other thing about this, and one of the things I wove as it were into the frequency of future medicine, is that it worked with and for you, and it helped to tune anything else that you're receiving. So, if you're working with a traditional doctor, with a naturopath, with any other kind of like healer, hypnotherapist, you're doing any kind of like yoga, strength training, anything that you're doing from like a physical body work or, healing perspective, medicine, whatever else it is that you're receiving, I have it woven into the frequency of future medicine that it also basically helped to amplify the results of those things too. Which is also part of why it works so well too, right? When you come to me and you're seeing a doctor, you're seeing a therapist, you're doing breath work, you're doing whatever the other things are. You're engaging in your own true experience of restoration, recovery, of health, of wellness, of remembering who you are, the manifestation process, whatever the things are that you're already doing. I have it set into the very fabric of what future medicine is for you, that it can amplify the power and the impact of everything else you're already doing. And that's also a big part of what really stands out in my mind about, the intention and the way that I wove future medicine, or, the frequencies and the energies that I wove into future medicine, so that as I share it with you, um, it's really meant to, it can be certainly standalone, but everything else that you're doing is amplified and truly so that everything you're doing can really work in concert and flow, right? So that everything is essentially working within for you with your highest path of favor, your divine intelligence, your remembrance, the restoration of your own massive sacred truth. Um, I also had someone ask this quite recently. A little emo over here. But when I say this, that I had someone report that something that I started helping her manifest in 2020. This is the kind of thing I'm gonna let it just be her thing for now. But this is the kind of manifestation that millions of people literally dream of experiencing. And we started working on calling it to life for her in the fall of 2024. It recently, in the past couple of weeks, transpired, and oh my gosh, you guys, it's it's just it's truly the kind of thing that that helps me just like arise and shine. And as the old Christian camp song goes, rise and shine and give God your glory, glory. I am a corny motherfucker. I think that's probably incredibly evident. I'm also a massive fan. I love to sing. I'm a total goof. We went to Christian family camp when I was little, and we used to sing that in Tabernacle during the week of Christian family camp that we would go to every year. Most of my childhood, 1 week every summer. Rise and shine and give God your glory, glory. And I don't mean like the fake corny ass, sort of like dweeb gods of this realm that are actually like hinky business in disguise. I mean true creator, the power of true creation that lies outside of this realm. I think a lot of what people perceive to be like God within even spirituality within the context of this false matrix is very insincere. There's a lot of bad vibes that are masquerading as being truth. And there is also simultaneously like a true creator from whence we all really came. And that is beautiful. And that is what I'm here to help you reconnect to. Um, so those are the big key differences between future medicine and any other healing modality. It would be my deep, true, sincerest, most beautiful honor to facilitate a future medicine session for you, to work with you privately, 3 to 6 month private mentorship where you receive tons of future medicine in a variety of different capacities. I have a group program right now called Cosmic Alchemists. The doors are going to be open for the next couple of weeks. That runs through December. And I also offer a future medicine certification program. I'm in my third year of training people how to share future medicine. I have a lot more to say about that. We start at the end of May, so you have a couple more weeks to enroll. That is a massive journey of self-discovery. It is so much fun. It is so truly cool and beautiful. I'm going to be shifting the format of it next year in 2027. So if you want to go through the entire thing, in its current model, which is 8 months Cosmic Alchemy and any other group programming I run during this year. So you get a lot of bang for your buck when you do that. It's a really, really powerful experience. So if you're interested in energetic self-mastery and learning this powerful way of working on yourself, of being of service to your community, then future medicine is the ticket. I'll pop in the notes a link that you can use to book a free discovery call where we can talk about it. I will be very honest with you, like those calls are not a hard sell. I want people who are like truly like ready for the experience to move through the journey, and that it's not for everyone, right? Like going through the future medicine certification program is not for everyone, but if it is for you and you're feeling that like sense of possibility and you want to talk with me about whether it's a right fit for your personal and professional development, you will learn a tangible healing modality in the form of future medicine that you can share with yourself, that you can, do sessions for people. You'll learn how to work with people, animals. You'll learn how to work with the land and the elements. You really learn a lot in the process of the journey. It's really amazing. And the other thing is I've had people go through it, who are already spiritual entrepreneurs who do breath work, who have studied Reiki, who share other healing modalities, who work in the Akashic records, people who, have pre-existing practices who've gone through the program, and it has like amplified that and giving them like an entirely new additional skill set with which to like share and engage. And I've had people go through it who were really doing it to learn how to like connect more deeply with themselves, or to weave it into businesses that you might not even realize. I've had people who do all kinds of different things go through the program. So I'd love to have you book a session. I would love to have you jump into one of my group programs, but um, yeah, that's what I have for you. And if you have any other questions or anything that, this like made you think about anything else you would like me to address in those future episodes of the Future Medicine FAQ, just drop them in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe, let anybody, that your friends, your fam, know about future medicine. That's in large part, word of mouth has been like a massive gift for me, because people experience future medicine and they're blown away by the experience, and then they share it with their community, and that's how so many people find me. So I would love for you to just pass it on to anyone who knows me about energetic TLC. I love you so much. I will talk to you very soon. Bye bye. Oh, and my website. I don't even know if I said my website out loud. There I go saying about it. And now you want to get multiple different kisses from me, because my website is weareheretoremember.com. I'll pop the link in the notes, along with the ways that you can work with me and the subscription link also for my newsletter. You can find me on Instagram at cwitchery and here on YouTube at birdtv.com. So anyway, now after my PS. Now I really am wrapping it up. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. I will hopefully see you very soon. Bye bye.